richness of participating in Twitter is the conversations you have with colleagues, maybe the conversations you have with the public, just the conversations and the connections with other people on Twitter. And the best way to really make those connections is to write engaging tweets and to write good quality tweets. I mean, I don't think, it's no surprise that there's a lot of junk out. There's a lot of junk out there, and you'll see when you get on Twitter and people, it's not very clear. And it's not, and again, of course, the challenge is you have 140 characters and you want to include a web link, you want to include a photo, and all of a sudden you're out of space. So, so we want to leave you here with two things: is some best practices of tweeting and how to write engaging tweets and 10 tips. Again, as Monique said, tweets, messages, as we've repeated, are 140 characters or less. And just to make things even more fun and challenging, research shows and best practices, research shows that tweets of 100 characters or less get a higher engagement rate. And what do I mean by engagement rate? Engagement rate means they get retweeted, they get favorited, or they get mentioned. And the simple reason for that is there's just not much editing needed. So if you're on, you're looking through your Twitter feed on your smartphone or on your iPad, you can just hit retweet. You can just quickly retweet, and you don't need to edit. It's just simply more efficient. And really the way it's just all about sort of cutting the fat out of your Twitter message and really getting it down to the most compelling aspect of the message, of the information that you want to set out. So something, one trick that helped me at the beginning is I would sort of write out my whole message, and even if it went over the count, I would just write out my whole thought, what I wanted to convey. If this was an original post, I wasn't retweeting. And then I would work on shortening it. And some ways you can shorten it, cut out your ands, use commas or semicolons, cut out, or even use an ampersand, use dashes, eliminate spaces. I mean, we're thinking out of the box here in terms of grammar. Abbreviations whenever possible. So these are just some of the ways to sort of lean down your message, because it's all about really just conveying the essence of the information, really the nugget that you want to communicate. So let's start with our 10 tips. First, and really most important, comply with HIPAA, just as you would with any communication in your institution, or when you're talking about patients. You don't want to talk about any patients or use any names or any identifiable information for a patient, and don't provide medical advice. Dr. Allen was just talking and said, you don't want to get into sort of a physician-patient relationship on Twitter. Is that fair? And also make it timely. You really need to, in order to establish your voice, in order to establish your presence and get followers, you really need to be a regular tweeter. Whether it's 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, because we're such a mobile society now with smartphones and apps, it's much easier just to sort of check in on Twitter, see what's going on your feeds, and then retweet those or post messages quickly. That being said, the third tip here is quality over quantity. It's always a good idea to not. It's not about how much you tweet. It's not about how much volume of information you're sending out. It's really about the quality, because quality tweets are going to attract quality followers. And that's what's really, again, sort of the richness of the Twitter experience is connecting with people around, such as hashtags on issues and topics that you're interested in, that you can connect. And it's all about just a lot of questions. I get a lot of questions about, well, I don't really know what to tweet. I don't know what to send out there. If you come across something, at the meeting or or reading a journal article or a news story that you find useful, your pathologist peers and your clinical peers are going to, find it interesting also. So it's just all about, disseminating useful content. Number 4, we're such a visual society, and we love photos and videos. Again, I think I talked about this earlier, and I know Monique kind of hit on this. We like to see visual depictions rather than read text. It's just the way we are. And so anytime you can add a photo, add a video, it really drives engagement. Of course, the trade-off is it takes up characters. But it's always just, even if I mentioned the social media kiosk upstairs across from the registration desk. If you just look at the kiosk where we have a phone and you can see the Twitter flow coming, you see the pictures are really, the content's great and the posts are great, but the pictures are really sort of what's engaging and catches your attention. Number 5, I sort of hit on this before, but share helpful information that most other people don't. We've all had conversations where we've shared information, that's new, and Twitter is just another avenue to share that information further. Number 6, we were talking about this, I think, earlier, and it's another question that we often get. Who do I follow? I don't even know where to start. There's all these followers on here. I don't know who to follow. A good lesson or a good place to start is just simply by following the sort of the news resources that you already follow, maybe online. Follow their Twitter handle. Follow them on Twitter. The news organizations that you follow, the newspapers, your local paper, Washington Post, New York Times. Follow them on Twitter. The journals, your journals. That you subscribe to. Follow them on Twitter. I was just talking with people here about for instance, I know the New England Journal of Medicine and even JAMA have great Twitter feeds. And you're going to get those articles on Twitter before you get it in an email, and of course, certainly before you get the print edition. So professional associations, of course, you can follow the college. Please follow the college @pathologist is our Twitter handle. And other colleagues that you know on Twitter. And as I said before, one great technique that we urge all members to do is once you get on Twitter, post a message that tags us. As Monique was saying, tagging us means including @pathologists in your message. That alerts us to your message and lets us know you're on Twitter, and then we can retweet that out to our 4,100 followers. I'm not counting or anything, but so and of course Twitter has a great algorithm that they will also once they see who you're following, they will recommend how other people for you to follow or other Twitter handles to follow. Number 7, just a best practice about images. The optimum size is 1,024 pixels by 512 pixels, so that just gives you a good sense of what's a good size image to post. So #pathologist is sort of the CAP, that's our official hashtag for this meeting, and for other, but it's just an established hashtag around which discussions take place about pathology. Of course, there's many other pathology-related hashtags. So that's something you might want to consider. But again, you'll see as you start to follow other people and you start to take part in conversations on Twitter, you'll also see other hashtags related to topics and issues that you're interested in. Number 9, we've been talking about how to write engaging posts and also how to participate in discussions and connect with other people on Twitter. And a great technique is to ask a question. If there's something that you want to connect with other CAP members or other pathologists or even other members about, ask a question. Just ask a question, and it's a great way to start a conversation. And finally, of course, take it mobile. We've been talking about, on your smartphone, and they're so ubiquitous now. Download the Twitter app. It's free on your smartphone and or tablet, and it's a great way to sort of make some time to be a regular presence on Twitter and just check in with Twitter on a regular basis. And we're such a mobile society that it just sort of makes it easier. So I have 2 pieces of homework for you for here. Assignment 1 here, while you're here, is tweet a selfie. Of course, that means a picture of yourself at CAP 14, say maybe in front of the social media kiosk that we are so excited about. And use a new hashtag that we are rolling out, that we are giving you all a sneak preview. It's called hashtag the social pathologist. We're officially rolling it out tomorrow during the social media lunch workshop that Dr. Allen is one of the panelists. Is anyone here signed up? No? Okay. Well, it's sold out, fortunately. But you can follow, once you get your Twitter account launched tonight, you can follow all the tweets by following hashtag the social pathologist. And then something that we started that's really had some pickup is tweet a hashtag lab fee. And we had a Twitter webinar a few weeks ago that Dr. Allen and Dr. Misalek, you see we pick on them a lot, spoke at. One of our staff members came up with the idea to post, to have our members post a picture of themselves, a selfie, in their lab. And so hashtag lab fee. And if you do a search for hashtag lab fee in Twitter, you will see probably a whole feed of pathologists in front of their microscopes in their labs. It's really been a lot of fun. And then, of course, always tag us, so we can see them too. Well, no, of course, we're following the lab feed too, but we'll try to retweet those out to you, or out to our followers.